Good morning, everybody. You are listening to the Procure Smarter podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sharon Cook, and today we are going to talk to Mr. Chris Adams. Chris is a successful entrepreneur with his own international hospitality and lifestyle consulting agency called the Ellis Adams Group. He is an expert in brand building, concept and design development, training, management, and profit margin increases. In addition, Adams is also a member of the Forbes Business Council. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. All right, everybody. We are back with Mr. Chris Adams. And Chris is a successful entrepreneur. He runs the Ellis Adams Group. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Amazing. How are you?
I am good. Thanks. Okay, now we are obviously going to talk all things Ellis Adams Group. But I really want to hear your journey because it's really interesting. You started out in the entertainment industry and then you transitioned somehow into hospitality. So I would like to hear that.
Yeah, it was pretty random. I started off in the entertainment industry. As a kid, that's all I ever did. It was music, and I thought that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And then at I'd say an early age, late teens, early 20s, I stumbled into hospitality. It was a summer job that was only supposed to be a summer job, a part-time gig to keep me out of trouble. And the rest is history. I started off my first job. I don't know. Have you ever been a pool attendant?
I have not.
I got to tell you, it's the best job I ever had in my life. My first job I ever had was a part-time pool attendant for Ritz-Carlton. And I had no idea what I was doing. Literally, they were like, here's the deal. You're going to get paid like, $7.50 an hour. And it's your job to walk around a pool all day and make sure people have like towels. And I'll never forget, we had a deal back then with Evian water. Mm-hmm. And they had these water spritzer bottles like in cans. And that's when I knew. I was like, this is next level status, because I'd walk around with this Evian water spritzer and ask people if they were hot. And if they were, I'd spritz them with like Evian water and they'd hand me like $20 and say, thank you. I was like, music, like screw music, man. This is the best life ever. And that was literally my introduction into hospitality. And when I tell you I drank the Kool-Aid, I mean, I don't know what Ritz-Carlton fed me, but I was all in. I was ready to get the Lion's Head logo, tattooed on me. And I, had some amazing opportunities. I worked hard, and worked my way up the ladder at Ritz-Carlton, became an executive for them before walking away, doing my own thing, opening my first restaurants and bars and nightclubs. Went back to Ritz-Carlton for a bit, launched Ellis Adams Group. And ironically enough, Marriott International's, we're one of their lead consultants, and Ritz-Carlton is owned by Marriott International. And so full circle, I am now one of the leads for Ritz-Carlton hotels. And so to think 20 plus years ago, this is what would have happened and this is what my life would become. I mean, I would have laughed you off the stage, right? But I could not be happier and more grateful for, how things transpired, and realizing now that it was in my DNA. I was destined to do this. It was just a matter of timing.
And isn't it something I find, when you work in these industries, you see a lot of different industries. Hospitality is really great about promoting from within. You can start as the head of housekeeping. You can start as the pool boy and work your way up that chain.
It's so true. In fact, one of my I consider mentors and one of the first general managers I worked for, he's now I don't know, president of Wynn, an Encore out in Vegas. And I'll never forget talking to him very early on, and he was giving me his story. And his story was he started off in the industry. If I remember right, he was like a steward, like he was a dishwasher. And the guy is now like the president of Wynn Encore in Vegas. I mean, it's that kind of stuff that you realize the sky's the limit in this industry. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I will tell you, it's a tough business, right? And I think we're feeling the effects of that now with the labor issues that we're having. But it's beyond gratifying. And I think this industry is for a very specific person. It's, if you don't have a heart for others and you don't, honest to God, truly enjoy making other people happy, and that's just who you are. Like, I don't have to be told to go take care of so-and-so, or fix something if it's not working, or pick up trash if it's on the ground. That's just who I am. And I think when you find those individuals, that it's kind of like that drug, you can't get away from it. Even, though sometimes working nights, weekends, and holidays might not be the best thing for you. It is such a special industry to be a part of. It truly is one big, massive family. And I think everyone on the planet should be forced to work in hospitality in some capacity in their life. It gives you a very different perspective on how to treat others.
I told all my children, you should absolutely be forced to wait tables at some point in your life.
Yeah. At one point, I was the executive steward for Ritz-Carlton, which is such a cool name. And it really means like you're the head dishwasher, right? I mean, that's literally what your job is. And I didn't know that at the time. And they offered, like, Chris, we really think this is a cool thing for you to dive into. It's part of the evolution of your career. And they were like, it's executive steward. And all my brain heard was executive. And I was like, done, I'm in. And I will tell you, it was amazing to be able to work with individuals that cared so deeply about what they did. And it's such a thankless position when you think about stewarding and housekeeping. Those are they're the backbone of any hotel or food and beverage operation. And to be able to work side by side with those individuals and see what they do on a day in and day out basis for so many others, without anybody, for the most part, saying thank you. Man, talk about changing my perspective of what's important. And how to treat other people. And it's something I think everybody should be forced to do.
And you made a comment, it is drinking the Kool-Aid, right? I mean, once you get a taste of that hospitality mentality, that lifestyle, that mentality, there's no other industry out there that treats their people like that.
No, I agree. And I think, I started off with, in my opinion, the best of the best with Ritz-Carlton. So I got super fortunate to start to start at the top. But my goodness, when I tell you, I'll never forget, I was sitting, when I took this position, it was a pre-opening of a hotel. And so when you do openings of a hotel, you get hired on, and then you have a countdown. And it's 10 to 14 days straight of culture training. It's boot camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the way into the technical side of hands-on in whatever department you're actually going to be working in. And in day 2 so they front load your training with culture training. And that's just, here's Ritz-Carlton, the history, the foundation, who we are as a brand, the ethos of who we are, helping you understand what the credo is, what the employee promise means, all those things. And I'll never forget, on day 2, I was sitting there. And on day 2 of this countdown, never worked in this industry before, I literally left that day, called my father and my music manager at the time, and said, I want out of the industry. I'm going to hospitality. This is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And they were like, they thought it was, cool, you had a good day. Like, yeah. But I mean, that's how much I knew. I mean, day 2, I knew this is where I was supposed to be. This is what I was called to do, was my destiny.
That's amazing. Okay, let's talk about Ritz-Carlton, because it is a luxury brand, and you have a passion for luxury. With I would say with no real brand affiliation, you just love all things luxury. So talk to me about this passion and where this inspiration comes from.
Luxury is a term that's thrown a lot, that has a very, people say luxury and immediately you see dollar signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
People assume when they say, oh, Chris, our company is focused, we're a luxury lifestyle brand, that it's they only deal with expensive things. Or Chris, he only likes bougie stuff, right? And that couldn't be farther from what we believe luxury is.
Okay.
Luxury is a feeling. That's it. Like, strip away everything that you believe, the perception that you think luxury is. Take away the chandeliers, the marble floors, and the logos. Luxury is nothing more than a feeling. There's actual data to support the fact that when you go into a luxury store and what you would perceive as a luxury store. So I'm gonna use Christian Louboutin, right? Those pretty red bottom shoes.
Right.
Obviously considered a luxury brand because the price tag tells you it's luxury. And there's actual data that says that if you were to go into Christian Louboutin and buy a pair of shoes, that when you swipe your credit card and they hand you that bag with their logo on it, that you physiologically walk out of the store differently than the way you walked in. You stand taller, your strides are different. And that's nothing more than a feeling. So for me, when I talk about luxury and how obsessed I am with luxury, I am obsessed with how we make people feel. That's it. And I don't care if we're at a select service hotel, an extended stay hotel, or a luxury product like a Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, or Mandarin Oriental. At the end of the day, how do you feel? And if we can hit that out of the park in making you feel a certain way, that's luxury. That's luxury for you. And that's what matters. We need to take luxury, strip away what we believe it means, and make sure that we're bringing luxury to wherever you are. And that's what we believe luxury is on our side. Yes, I will be honest. We tend to get pushed into the corner of St. Regis, Ritz-Carlton, and those brands. Because I'll be honest, those brands care deeply about how they make guests feel. They care deeply about the little details, which has a very big impact on a guest experience. And that impact affects how you feel. So as a result, I think it tends to push us in that direction a little bit more. But I'll be honest with you, I don't care if we're getting pulled into a select service hotel or an extended stay or a motel. If that's where you're going to stay and that's where you choose to spend your dollars, how can I make sure that we're affecting your guest experience to make you feel a certain way? Whether it's $20 or $20,000, that's irrelevant. Feeling doesn't cost me anything.
Right.
How my front desk agent engages you when you walk in the front door, that has nothing to do with the rate you're paying. That's an individual that has a heart for others, that truly cares about how you feel. And that's the message that we really push hard on when we look at the training, the workshops that we produce, and our clients that we deal with.
Now, in all your travels, I know you've seen and experienced a lot. Did you walk into a hotel and you went, that's it, that's what we're going after? Was there one moment that you were like, that's luxury?
Yeah, I think it happens all the time. And I think and I don't know that for me, it's details. I am so obsessed with little things that my father is a psychologist, so I'm obsessed with the human brain and how the subconsciously things affect us, which then dictates our behavior. So for me, it's those little details that have such an impact on us that we don't realize. I'll never forget, I pulled up, I was at the Edition in London, and the experience that they gave me when I got out of the taxi was one where I went, I didn't have to walk in the hotel. They got it. Mm-hmm. They got it. It was that old school. They had no idea necessarily that I was pulling up, yet the door opened and they were calling me by name. And I'm like, I do this for a living. I teach this, and I still sit back and go, it's magical. It's how do they even know, right? And then when they escorted me into the hotel, when I got to the front desk, there was no good morning, good afternoon, may I get your name? It was, Mr. Adams, it's so great to see you again. Like it's one of those things where I go, I know how they do it. I teach it, yet God, the feeling that it gives, they nailed it. They nailed it. It was so, and I go, you do that every time, and there's no wonder why you have a line of people waiting to come to your hotel. So those are those little details. There's even times where I'll be in a guest room of a new hotel we're opening or something, and I'll go to grab something and realize that they put a power outlet in the perfect location. And I'm like, my God, like that feeling of they know exactly what we're looking for when we're sitting there and looking how to plug my phone in or something. Those little things, they excite me because I know how much it actually impacts the guest, whether we realize it or not.
I agree. Don't you think we've come such a long way when it comes to power outlets? Don't you still get frustrated when you walk into a hotel room and you can't find an outlet?
Oh my God.
You're like,
Or
how's that possible?
I could tell you, like, I have a huge pet peeve. We're in the middle of designing a hotel right now, and you would laugh if you saw the number of emails that I get copied on asking, am I okay with this power, the outlet? And it's little things like you're seeing a lot of hotels transition to steamers in guest rooms versus an ironing board, which I love. I love that concept. What I hate is that we don't think through the process of where are we plugging in the steamer, where are we storing the steamer, and then where are we hanging the clothes to steam them. And I'm like, how is this that difficult? So like in this new hotel we're designing right now, I literally have a whole space like that we've built out that is literally like a steaming area. I'm like, that's more important to me than anything else in the room right now. So yeah, it's those little things that matter most.
That's fantastic. I want to give you a quick example. My daughter got married in this past fall, and we were in a hotel bridal suite, and yet there was not a hook to hang the dress. And I was like, what a missed opportunity. What a simple detail.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. Okay. So of all these projects that you've worked on, I know they're like your children, but do you have a favorite? Do you have one that you were like, that was some projects are just so much fun.
Yeah, I think they're all fun for different reasons. Right. So when you're going into a project, especially on a design side, there's some that are super themed out. I look at Salimar that we did down in the Tampa area. We have another one coming up in St. Pete that are the whole vision behind it for Salimar was Tulum driven. Right. So it was letting you escape from Florida and you walk into this really cool concept out of Tulum. Or down in St. Pete, it's inspired by Cuba. And I had the opportunity, I've been to Cuba multiple times, was just there right before the pandemic hit. And so it was, how do we bring that to life in a rooftop experience, right? So all of those are fun because it lets you explore the creative side of what you're trying to bring to life. And hopefully it's pulled through, and those guests that start coming, they see it and feel it and experience it. So each one is super different in what makes you excited. I'll be honest, we just opened the Ritz-Carlton down in Mexico City. And for me, anytime I get to open another Ritz-Carlton, like it's something special for me, right? Because I know my career is not what it is. My brand is not what it is without Ritz-Carlton. Like they created me, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So anytime I get to be a part of helping expand that brand, and be a part of it and have my thumb in there just a little bit, it's exciting, and I'm giddy like a little kid every time I show up to do another Ritz-Carlton opening.
And it's you take such a pride of ownership, like I'm the purchasing agent, and even though I only played a small role in that hotel, on opening day, I'm just as thrilled as the owner is. I am so excited to see the first customer come through.
Right? It is. It's like we're owners with them, proudly standing there as people show up for the first time to see what's been created.
We really are. Okay, so here's the question: the world is your oyster. What would you do? What dream project would you tackle?
Oh goodness, we're so fortunate. We have so many going on right now that are their bucket list items that are coming to fruition, right? So which is super cool. I think the biggest thing right now for us is the industry is in such a tough place. Labor issues, and it's not labor issues like people have been furloughed and we can't bring them back. People have left our industry, and I will tell you that it has become it's more than a passion project at this point. What are we going to do to help move our industry to where it's supposed to be? How are we going to encourage people to want to come back to hospitality? And that's a huge question, with many, many tentacles of answers on how to get there. And so I think for us right now, that is a very big, it's an importance for us. of helping be a part of the solution
Right.
of how to get us back where we need to be, to get people excited again about this industry, to help get our guest back in an understanding of what this industry actually is, to get our people and our ladies and gentlemen financially where they need to be a part of this industry and be excited about it. There's a lot that goes into it, from the owners all the way down to the type of individuals that are coming into our industry, to what's the perception of our industry, and that's a huge reason why we're in the situation that we're in. Is in the US specifically, the perception of the hospitality industry is not a favorable one. It's, not a lot of people at 11 years old are trying to figure out what they want to do for the rest of their life. And they go, well, I want to be a ballet dancer or maybe a bartender, right? That's
Right.
not usually what's going on or thought about. And we've almost made the hospitality industry in the US one that plays second fiddle, right? It's you're in hospitality. Oh, you're a server. What happened? Right? That's almost the conversation. Wow, what did you really want to do? And this ended up being what you had to do.
Right. Or you're biding your time. You're waiting for something better.
This is a pass-through job.
Right.
Are you just serving tables while you're waiting to get something else? And I go, that's a horrible, horrible place to be, that we've created this stigma of what our industry is. And we have to change that. We have to change the mindset and the perception of what our industry is supposed to be, and how amazing the industry is, and the ability to go from steward to president of one of the biggest and most successful casino groups. And I mean, there's so much upside to being in this industry. We just have to make sure that we're able to tell our story better, that we're able to change the perception from the outside consumer. And social media plays a huge part in that nowadays. And unfortunately, we're growing more and more into a world of, what does social media tell us we should be doing? I just read data the other day. It said 90% of all decision making for human beings is based on social influence. That's scary when we constantly we live our lives based on a facade that people are putting on Instagram of what their life they hope it to be, versus the reality of what it is, and being proud of what you do. You don't have to drive a Lamborghini to be successful, right? And I think that is a very difficult place right now that we've put ourselves in, because that's kind of where we've taken it, that if you're not living this fake Instagram life, then you failed in some way. And we see anxiety for young people through the roof. Depression is at an all-time high. Suicide rates are astronomical. And I'm not saying that it's all because of Instagram. Please don't misunderstand me. But I do think that society as a whole has placed a certain level of standard that people are trying to meet. It's just not realistic, and it's not smart. It's not healthy, and it's not where you actually find happiness for you personally as an individual. And that's everybody's trying to find happiness. The problem is they're pursuing other people's passions and other people's purposes versus their own.
Well, and the other thing that I've noticed, I have 3 children in their 20s going in 30. The other thing is this social media it's instant gratification, right? They don't see the path. They see it's either the end or the start. Okay, if I'm a server now, I'm always going to be a server. They don't see the path forward, and that's super stressful.
Yeah, I think no one wants to talk about the journey, right? Everybody wants the final. They want the way you live now. They want the car you drive now. They want the house you live in now. No one wants to talk about the journey it took to get there. And it's crazy because they love the idea of listening to a podcast and thinking, man, it'd be great one day to be the person that says, I came from nothing, but now I have everything. But no one wants to actually do the work to do that, right? They want the story. They want to be able to say that. They want to be able to be interviewed and say, this is what I did. But who's really willing to, live in their car or on someone else's couch or whatever it takes to go after what it is that you believe you're destined to do. And that's the part that the work part. And it's tough. We live in a world right now where I push a button on my phone and I pretty much have access to anything I want in less than 10 seconds. And honest to God, if I go from 5G to LTE, I'm flipping out because it takes 30 seconds, right? Because we're so accustomed to instant gratification, like you said. Well, when you translate that to your everyday life, I mean, really, honestly, think about it. Spread that out to everything from your career to I just ordered a cocktail. Why is it taking so long? To everything now is based on the fact that I could push a button. And when Uber's not here in 5 minutes, I'm canceling and looking for another one. Like we've become, there's zero patience. There's zero understanding the process of the fact that the Uber driver has to get in their car, start it, come down a one-way street, go through 6. No, it's the fact that you're not here. And that's what I'm pissed off about. And so we don't want to understand the process. We don't want to think about the process. We just want the result of somebody pulling up and letting me get in your car. And that's a very difficult place to operate from when you're sitting there as a 20-something-year-old trying to find your way and looking. At the end of the day, they don't realize they just want to be happy.
Yeah.
They're just trying to fill it with all the wrong things because they think that's what's going to bring them happiness. And it's tough to watch.
Right. So let's transition that because that actually leads beautifully into my next question. Knowing the society that we're in now, and a lot of it is the pandemic and coming out of the post-pandemic world, what do you see changing in the hospitality trends? What has the pandemic taught us? Or what has this new millennial instant gratification taught us about how hospitality needs to look?
Well, I think coming out of it, our consumer has proven that they're okay with spending money again. The difference is their money has more value to them. So as a result, their expectations are different. They're looking for I always say that they don't care what you charge them as long as the price point is equivalent to the experience. Right? You can charge me $60 for a martini as long as it's a $60 experience. I'm completely fine with paying $60 for it. And so as a result, they're looking for those increased experiences attached to the dollars that they're spending. Because the reality is we've come back from pandemic. And if you there's two sides, right? We have I'm going to keep it in the hotel hospitality side. We have that side which says we don't have as many people and the cost of goods has gone up and we're trying to recover from the past 2 years. So as a result, everything on our side, prices have increased. For the most part, we're charging more for everything than we did pre-pandemic. Okay. Now on the consumer side, they're going, so wait a second, I'm coming back from this and you're charging me more than I've ever been charged before, but you have less people to execute it. So I'm getting a lesser experience than I did pre-pandemic. So I'm getting a lesser experience for a higher dollar amount. That is a total disconnect. And the guest is like, screw this. Like this, there's zero value in what you're giving me. So that's forcing us to be very different in the way we operate. Our labor models are different than they were pre-pandemic. We have a fraction of the people that we had before. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know that we're going to find a sweet spot. We have too little people now, and we're never going to probably go back to the point we were before with the number of people that we had in our pre-pandemic labor models. So there's going to be a sweet spot in the middle that we find, but we still have to find a way to operate more efficiently with a higher productivity for us to be able to execute higher level experiences with less people to do it. In my opinion, I believe that we're going to be forced to increase our use of technology. And our industry as a whole is decades behind other industries when it comes to technology. Let's just be honest. And this is going to force our hand to utilize technology better. I don't think it's necessarily saying that we're going to use technology to take away the human touch point, but I think there are absolutely ways that we can leverage technology to make us more efficient, more productive, and make our teams happier, allows them to do a better job, a more efficient job, a more productive job that we're not currently doing. I see that being a huge trend over the next 10 years, or even less than that, 5 years, of how do we take advantage of technology, stop being so scared of it. I think in hospitality, I always said we think of technology in hospitality of either handwriting guest checks or a robot's doing our job. Like there's no in between for us.
Right. Right.
And so I think we're going to be forced to be a little bit smarter of the creating technology that really helps us and uses it in a way that makes us better at what we do without taking away the human aspect.
So much good information. Okay, I have one more final question for you, and this has nothing to do, well, it kind of, you have a spirit in the works. Is that still happening with a rapper, G-Eazy?
It's we're working on stuff. I mean, I in no way, shape, or form am going to confirm nor deny where it's at in the process, but a lot of conversations have been had around this, whether it's a spirit, a wine, who knows, but a lot of conversations around it for sure.
And is that just a creative outlet? You're like, I think I'm going to do this.
He's very passionate about the industry. And so it's something that honestly, it was something that was on his radar. And if we get to be a part of something like that, it'll be fun and exciting for sure. So we're excited to continue to work on that path.
That's fantastic. Well, that little bit of information is out there on the web somewhere. Okay, Chris, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I appreciate it. I look forward to speaking again soon.
Okay, I'm going to put you on pause for just a second. All right, everybody, that was the Procure Smarter podcast for today. That was Mr. Chris Adams. And oh my God, guys, it was such a good interview. He had so much good information. If you have purchasing needs, if you have a conversion, renovation, new construction coming up in 2022, 2023, please think of us. We would love to be your provider for purchasing services. We offer logistics, accounting, a design. We can offer architecture. We have a little bit of everything going on over here. So reach out to us and stay tuned. We will talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.